since we've done Oblivion in the past, I might as well do Skyrim. Hey everyone, it's to review! Right here, with another top 10 list. And I think the title of this video says it all, so might as well go straight into it. Also disregard the usual rule of only one per franchise, because this would be a very short video if so. The Mind of a Madman. Considering that many of us had come straight from Oblivion a few years earlier, and naturally being familiar with its noteworthy expansion, the Shivering Isles, many of us were looking forward to what Daedric quest the God of Madness himself had in store for us. And the beginning of this quest holds a lot of promise, with some dark undertones too, having been made to access an abandoned wing in the Palace in Solitude. Then we're transported to an unremarkable location and meet the dude himself, who may actually be you from Oblivion if you think hard enough on it. Unfortunately for us though, what we're required to do is a bit underwhelming and sometimes illogical. Now I get that this is the Prince of Madness we're dealing with here, and with that in mind, most of what he asks you to do doesn't make much sense on paper. Cast spells at a dude sleeping, cast spells at another dude to make him big. Then you're also asked to work out a puzzle in an arena which can be solved by casting spells at people not even in the arena. And that's the quest. So let's go through that again. Cast some spells at some people, and you're done. Considering how much better this could have been, this quest is very anticlimactic at best, and boring at worst. Touching the Sky! Not the worst quest in the game by far, but perhaps one of the worst quests in the Dawnguard expansion. You are tasked in retrieving Auriel's bow from the Forgotten Vale in order to either destroy the vampire race, or to destroy the sun for a few seconds before it comes back. Don't ask, okay? And on paper, this sounds like it'd be a really good quest. An epic journey through Forgotten Lands to obtain a weapon of the gods themselves. It's just a shame that the route there is confusing as f***. A big emphasis is on filling up a jug of water and using it on fountains, and then when you do finally get this bow, like I said, you can either blot out the sun for a few seconds before everything goes back to normal, or you can use it to create disco lights. And trust me, that's not as interesting as it sounds. In conclusion, this quest is a headache with not much payoff. Darkness Returns! Speaking of not much payoff, in terms of loot or even satisfaction, I'm gonna have to go with the conclusion to the Thieves Guild questline. If I'm honest, I really enjoyed the first half of this questline in Skyrim. Being a part of the Thieves Guild means being tasked with lifting valuable, rare, and often well-guarded items. What it should not be about, however, are gods and religious contracts. I appreciate that Bethesda tried doing something different with this questline, but honestly, I felt that it fell flat on its face. The last Thieves Guild quest in Oblivion was so fucking epic, and I loved it. The final Thieves Guild quest in Skyrim involves you returning an item to a shrine, and then pledging your immortal soul to the Goddess of Darkness, because returning her shit wasn't enough. It just felt like the second half of the Thieves Guild questline wasn't about stealing at all. Which is the whole point of joining a guild that's all about stealing shit. If I want religion, I'll go to a temple or whatever. And this quest makes you give up the skeleton key. You know, the best item in Oblivion by miles. Just give me that and let me walk. But no, contracts and vows is all you get, along with some armour that makes you look like a burnt owl. The Book of Love. Aw, doesn't that quest name sound lovely? But you know what? I've got a more appropriate title for this quest. Hand-holding. Now that also sounds romantic, but that's not the type of hand-holding I was referring to. I mean that you literally have to hand-hold each character who appears in this quest so as to score with the opposite sex. You go to a village and convince a couple to fuck off, then you've got to go to Markarth and get a poem for a dude so he can serenade someone. Then you've got to reunite two ghosts, which turns into an escort mission. Your rewards for this are a blessing, which gives you plus 15% passive magic resistance buff, which is okay I guess, and an Amulet of Mara, which you probably already have. Unless you're getting your ass kicked when fighting mages and necromancers, this quest isn't even particularly worth doing. Argonian Ale Extraction. Meanwhile, this quest is totally not worth doing. Go to Whiterun and talk to this dickhead. He'll tell you that there's some special booze in the local inn that he wants. So you go there, lift it because no one is around, and return it to him. That's the quest done. And your reward for this is a health potion, of which you've probably already got a ton of anyway. Like, what was the point of this quest? When Bethesda sat down and thought about what smaller quests to include in Whiterun, what was going through their minds when they came up with this one? Were they trying to create something believable? Or did they just think, fuck it, that'll do? Because I'm leaning towards the latter here.
Mambo number 5.
Soul Husk Hunt. Soul Husk Hunt. Soul Husk Hunt. Husk Hunt. Damn it, I didn't even swear that time. Oh, fuck me, another pointless fetch quest. Don't we all love those? Found in the Dawnguard expansion again, this quest is a repeatable quest that's given to you when you venture in the Soul Cairn and come across a soul called Morven Stroud. He'll tell you that he has goods to sell, but if you want to see what he's got, then you better bring in 25 soul husks which are found about the place. But I don't see the reason why you'd want to do that. Considering that almost everything he gives you is randomised, so there's no way to pick or choose, and the fact that you've probably already brought something with you that is far better than anything that he has to offer by this point, tells me that this is a quest that, A, doesn't offer anything to the player for the monotonous work that you're being asked to do, and B, isn't necessary anyway, hence how lazy it is. It's a quest that demands a lot from the player without giving anything nearly as equal back. No Stone Unturned! And this one as well, but even worse. You may occasionally find what looks like a shiny jewel kept inside a small presentation box during your travels, and because humans are suckers for shiny objects, it's inevitable that you're going to pick it up. Doing so will initiate the quest No Stone Unturned. This quest asks you to travel throughout the lands, finding the rest of these stones as they're part of a set. 24 to be exact. However, it's not that simple, because not a single one of them appears in either your journal, nor on the map. So how do you find all of them then? Well, here's how you do it. First, minimise the game. Then go to Google and type in No Stone Unturned walkthrough. This will give you the location of all of them. And after finding all of them, you give them to Vex, who sends you to a cave to find a crown. After returning with that, the quest is done, and you get the crown. No! You don't get the crown! The Thieves Guild gets the crown while you get kicked out the door with nothing to show for your efforts except for a blessing. This ability basically means that you get more jewels from chests, containers, etc. And that's it. Sure, you get to sell that for extra cash, but to go through all of that effort just to slightly increase how much money you earn is a solid kick to the crotch if you ask me. Rjorn's Drum! Easily the most missold questline in Skyrim comes from the Bard's College in Solitude. We can join the Bard's College? As in, learn how to sing and play musical instruments? Huh. Sounds like a weird addition to this game, but okay, I'm interested to see what it's like. So you want to join the Bard's College, do ya? What, to prove your worth? Go into some cave, I don't fucking know, and look for something that one of the others left behind. Now watch our poor man's version of Burning Man. Now go do it again. Now go do it again. Now go do it again one more time. You're a bard now, I suppose. Everyone give him a round of applause and try not to act too enthusiastic about it. The reason why Rjorn's Drum quest is on here, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, is on here specifically though, is because it's one of the first ones I thought of. Considering that you've already been tasked to go into some ruins to find a poem, a lute, and a flute on 3 separate occasions, so asking me a 4th time to go and get anything else is taking the piss, then catching said piss in a glass, and then pouring that all over my face. And before you get the impression that I like golden showers, we'd better quickly move on to number 2. Good intentions! Good intentions, my arse. If Bethesda had any good intentions with this one, then I'd hate to know what their bad intentions were. This is a quest that can be taken while doing the College of Winterhold questline. You found a MacGuffin known as the Eye of Bollocks, and the Sigil Order is basically asked to have a word with you, frozen time, and then told you f*** all, leading me wonder why they froze time in the first place if you're just gonna circle the topic instead of getting to the actual point. They then send you off to speak with people, then look for something that may be God or just some sort of talking orb, and then you return and speak with someone else. By the end of that quest, you've done a whopping speaking, following, listening, and finding. The outcome of this quest? That the Thalmor elf at reception might be a c***. I know he's a c***. He's one comment away from asking me if I get to the Cloud District very often.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
A return to your roots! Oh, f*** off. Did Bethesda not learn a single thing from Oblivion? Finding your roots was easily one of the worst quests in that game, and they knew exactly how much we f***ing hated it. So why bring it back? If you're not familiar with this quest, then congratulations on living an ignorantly blissful life, and I'm sorry to have to ruin that for you now. You are tasked with finding X amount of a rare plant that appears across the game called Nirnroot. Finding a set amount will let you obtain a useless potion. But then the game tells you that the next step requires even more of that shit. I don't know of anyone who actually liked this quest, and it blows my mind to know that they brought it back in Skyrim for another round of hands up who wants to do the most boring quest possible. More like, hands up who doesn't want to do this quest. It was hated in Oblivion, and bringing it back here was naturally going to turn away most players in favour of doing more interesting stuff in this game. Which is literally anything else. But for that reason alone, a return to your roots makes it in at number 1 on this list. And that's all we have time for, but if you want to do the most boring thing possible, then like this video and subscribe to this channel. Wow, I'm really not selling myself here at all, am I? You can also get bored on Twitter, where I post up which video will be next and when, and you can also bore yourself to death on Patreon. But that's all there is, so I'm out of here. But until next time, see ya!
Sometimes I think this life is killing me. Sometimes I think this life is killing me. I swear it's killing me. This life is killing me.